This is Revelations 13 and 16, and it reads, "And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name." I'd like to start off by saying, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Holoim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wachakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing, that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shuab Omawan back at you with another lesson. And going into the title, all right, 2026 year of the N.W.O and technology. All right. And I'm going to read these, not articles, but based on the MOTB. All right. Because at the end of the day, all right, that's what's coming. That's the main idea. All right. And because of what's going on with this war, all right, and this orchestrated collapse, all right, of these other economies, all right, through the Strait of Hormuz. All right, eventually this is going to come to America. All right, it's going to cause a collapse here. All right, hold on. And it says right here, it says breaking US dollar recall to coming to America. Washington just confirmed plans to replace the traditional US dollar with a brand new digital version. If you hold US dollars in any bank account, you must prepare before the switch goes live. Before the switch goes live. All right. It says this isn't a conspiracy. It's the biggest monetary shift in 100 years. They're calling it dollar 2.0, a new programmable version of the dollar that will replace cash and checking accounts. It will change how money moves, how it's spent, and who controls it. All right. We've been talking about this for years now. All right. Telling you that eventually this dollar will collapse. All right. Eventually that the system, the old world order, will collapse and be replaced with what? The N.W.O. Okay. It says more than 110 US banks have already joined the pilot network building dollar 2.0. Bank of America calls it the foundation for the next generation of US money. Even Fed Chair Jerome Powell admitted a US CBDC could help maintain the dollar's international standing. All right. And honestly, see, that dollar internationally is pretty much done. All right. You have all these other nations that have backed up from that dollar. Okay. That's why the dollar is devaluing here. All right. And pretty much they want to bring in this system because that's going to be their way to try to erase debt. All right. America's in a deficit worse than it's ever been in history. All right. I did a video on that maybe about a week and a half ago. All right. They're in like trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. All right. And the only way they can pretty much, all right, erase that is by waging war. All right. That's one of the main reasons why they're in debt. All right. But the only way they can erase it is by pretty much waging war on these different countries, right? And try to take their resources to try to make up for that. But even then, all right, the best way to erase that debt is to bring in a new world order, all right, to bring in a new system, okay, reset everything, right? It says, meanwhile, the world is dumping dollars, okay, China, Russia, Brazil, all right, even Saudi Arabia, their goal, a new de-dollarized financial system, okay? It says Washington's response, recall old dollars, then replace them with a digital currency under full control of the Fed. But here's what nobody tells you. It says every financial reset creates two groups. X, it says an X. It says those who lose everything overnight and those who position themselves before the switch. because this time the recall isn't just a threat, it's a once in a generational it's a once in a generation wealth window, but only if you understand what's actually happening. All right, it says behind the scenes businesses are panicking. Digital dollar equals new payment systems, and this means total confusion. Small businesses have no idea how to adapt, and that's exactly what the opportunity lies. All right. It says businesses will pay five figures a year to help them navigate a AI powered digital payment system. All right. Then it says X. You don't have to be a tech genius. X again. You don't have to create AI apps. Check. It says all you have to do is act as the middleman. And here's how. It says rent out AI systems to businesses. Spend 3 to 4 hours a week managing them, or charge them a monthly recurring fee. This is the exact strategy I've been using to generate a full-time income working 3 to 4 hours a week. All right. So this guy's just pretty much trying to tell you how to keep up with the times. Okay. But at the end of the day, you have to understand what's being said. All right. Forget about trying to keep up with the times, because the dollar's going to collapse. All right. The gold and silver is going to collapse. All right. And America itself is going to collapse. Okay. So even though this new world order is going to be brought into play, all right, at one point, as the scriptures tell you in Job, the 20th chapter, when he is in the fullness of his sufficiency, right? Then, all right, the Lord is going what? Lift up that standard again against them while he is eating. All right. So while he's in the fullness of his sufficiency, okay, when he's at the top of his game, when he pretty much got his agenda down pat, right, and ready to take over the whole entire world, because he's going to get a portion of it to actually happen, man. All right. But when he's truly about to, fill up his belly, as the scriptures say, then the Lord is going to what? Rain upon him with the missiles, man. Okay. So even though they're speaking about ways to try to, keep up with the times, all right, the times are going to fall, man. Everything in Egypt is going to fail. All right. So this N.W.O is going to fail also. All right. It's only going to be for a short period of time. All right, that it's going to be able to last. All right, because you got 1/3, all right, of people, all right, that is pretty much going to fall to that MOTB. Okay, you got people that's going you got our people ultimately, right? You got our people that are going to be 1/3 to the famine, 1/3 to Jacob's trouble by the sword, all right, and 1/3 to the missiles, all right, and the ones that get hit by the missiles is pretty much going to be those that ended up taking the MOTB, because the scriptures tell you that in Revelation, the 14th chapter, and anybody that takes that the mark or the image of the beast, right, that they're gonna have to be hit with brimstone, right, with the missiles in the presence of the holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb. Okay, so and ultimately the 1/3 of man, which is of Esau, they all gonna be hit with missiles, man. Okay, so this place is gonna collapse, man. Regardless, everything here is gonna collapse. Is going to be brought into a new world order, and then that new world order is going to be taken out of the way also. You see, so there is no trying to keep up with the times, man. All right, but let me finish this off. It says 99% of people are panicking about AI takeover. All right, and that's the times that we're in, the fourth industrial revolution, the Internet of Things, right? So this is why they've been prepping you with this AI, all right, for a long time now. Okay, it says, and 1% is quietly using the AI boom to build wealth. All right. And again, you could try to build with try to keep up with the times of AI. All right. Regardless, this thing is going to be taken out the way anyway. All right. It says, if you want to know exactly how I do it, then yeah, he's just trying to make you go to his page and take down his blueprint to keep up with the society. All right. But the reason I brought this whole entire thing out is because, all right, the MOTB, all right, is right around the corner, because see how they're speaking about it? See how Washington confirmed plans to replace the traditional US dollar, okay? And like I said, this war that's going on out there in the Middle East, the so-called Middle East, right? That's going to cause a lot of it's going to cause a lot of it's going to cause a lot of collapse out here in America, because it's causing a collapse worldwide. All right, between these other economies, between these other countries. All right, especially with these countries being blocked off. All right, being able to get oil from the Middle East. All right, 20% of the oil has been blocked off. The only ones that are pretty much getting some right now is certain places like China. Okay, China's still dealing with Iran. All right, only because China has supplied Iran with a lot of artillery. All right, you even got Iran right now that's pretty much setting up what do you call it, mines in the water. All right, where things explode. I forgot what they were called exactly, but they're like like landmines in the land. They'll put mines in the ground, and if you cross them, all right, you pretty much explode. All right, well, they're doing the same thing with these things in the water. All right, and they're pretty much blowing up. I believe they just blew up like 3 ships that were American. All right, or they were American connected. All right, so these things right there, all right, shows you that it's going to put the rest of these countries around there, right, that are not supportive of Iran, all right, that are pretty much supportive toward America to be, to collapse. Okay. And that's going to cause, with war comes famine. All right. So that's another thing, with all this war that we got going on, is going to bring a famine here in America. All right. Prices are going to go up. All right. They're talking about $200 to $300 a barrel of oil now. All right. Right now we're at 100. Okay. Imagine it at 200 and 300. That means that your gas is going to be skyrocketed, man. All right. And gas is needed for a lot of things. Oils is needed for a lot of things. Oils are needed to run machines out here in America, to run businesses. Okay. To have heat. Okay. Which we don't need it right now because we're about to approach, summer. Okay. Springtime and summer. So you don't need it, but there's still a necessary need. All right. For oil in so many other ways, in so many aspects. All right. So these things will eventually go up. And they're not going to be affordable. Okay. And that's what's going to cause, a collapse here, man. Okay. On top of that, you have your government that's pretty much orchestrating their own, their own way of crashing their own dollar. All right. To bring in their system. All right. So this is what's coming, man. This is what's coming to America, whether these people like it or not. All right. And this is why you're going to have to put your full trust in Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. And not not in America. Okay. The Lord said, put your trust in the Lord rather than man, right? Rather than to put confidence in man. All right. And these people rely on their government. They rely on these devils to pretty much get them by. All right. And that's going to be your confusion at the end of the day. All right. This is Isaiah 30:1. And it says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. All right. That walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Okay. So, these people strengthen themselves by the strength of lies, man, the refuge of lies. Okay. They strengthen themselves to the strength of oppression. Okay, we strengthen ourselves through Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay, it says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Okay, so relying on America, all right, trusting in the shadow of Egypt will be your shame and your confusion, man. All right, because there's nothing here that they could do for you that Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai can't. All right. The Lord is the creator of all things. The Lord is what is in control of all things. Okay. Yeah. In the flesh, Esau's controlling, this world because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. But who's the one that controls Esau, man? Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. Let me grab this. This is Hosea 10:13. and NLT says, but you have cultivated wickedness and harvested a thriving crop of sins. Matter of fact, let me take it up one. It says, plant the good seeds of righteousness, and you will harvest a crop of love. Plow up the hard ground of your hearts, for now it is time to seek the Lord Yahweh, that he may come and shower righteousness upon you. But you have cultivated wickedness and harvested a thriving crop of sins. You have eaten the fruit of lies, trusting in your military might, believing that great armies could make your nation safe. You see, so these people rely on Esau to make their nation safe, man. You see, it says, now terrors of war will rise among your people. All your fortifications will fall, just as when Shalman destroyed Beth Arbel, even mothers and children were dashed to death there. All right. But the point is that now terrors of war will rise among your people. You see, and that's what you see right here. War. All right. War and rumors of war, which we're past the rumors now. All right. War is in full effect. All right. So there's no more how we were saying it years ago that World War III will eventually come. There's no more of that rumor. OK, the World War III is here, and it's here to stay, to increase and get worse and worse. OK, yeah, you might have a little stop point at one point, you know, a fake peace treaty thrown. All right. But we know that the scriptures say when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction come. Right. So, you know, none of that is going to ever stop it. All right. Because it's prophecy that World War III would happen. OK, so again, you know, these people putting their trust in the shadow of Egypt is going to be their shame and confusion. OK, let's grab this and I'll end it off with this. This is Isaiah 36 and 6. It says, lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. All right. NLT says on Egypt. All right. And this is speaking of America. If you lean on Egypt, on America, it will be like a reed that splinters beneath your weight and pierces your hand. Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, is completely unreliable. You see, so you can't rely on this place, man. You have to rely on Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, because that's what's going to get you through this thing, man. Okay, you can't rely on this place because this place is going to collapse, as it tells you in Isaiah 19 chapter, right? That that everything in Egypt shall fail, man. Egypt is going to fail, man. They're going to have to turn to their, you know, to their wizards and warlocks, all right, which that will also fail, all right, because we're at the time where the Lord is about to end all this, you know, all this spiritual fornication, okay? And if you don't turn to the Heavenly Father, that's why he said, what? Go and cry to the gods which you have chosen and let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation, man. All right. To show you that none of those powers, all right, none of those spiritual fornicated idols, all right, are there to save you, man, or can save you, because only Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah can. All right. And that's for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. Nobody else, because the hell with the rest of these nations, man. All right. Those that are outside of, you know, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Salvation is not for them. Salvation is for, you know, the people of Israel. All right. And not the ones that you see out there in Israel right now. OK, those are heathens that have taken over our land. All right. And we're going to be returned back to our land. All right. So, yeah, just wanted to share that. All right. You just got to be prepared for, you know, that N.W.O, that technology that's right around the corner. OK. And, you know, it's speeding up faster and faster with this war, because the faster and the more deep we go into war. All right. In World War III, and you have these nations. All right. Starting to turn against America, even their allies. All right, it can only signify that the MOTB is right around the corner, because that has to happen first in order for World War III to happen, where, you know, America is annihilated from California to New York City. OK, because everything happens in chronological order. OK, so we have to see that happen first. All right. And that's what we want. We want this devil to pretty much come with his technology already. All right. Because then it can only let us know that we're right around the corner from salvation. You see, we know that eventually all these nations will turn against you and shoot missiles at you. All right. So I just wanted to share that through the Spirit, Lord willing, that you were edified. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Haloim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bachak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Aquat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing, that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith, enduring as good soldiers of Yahweh Shai. Shalom.